further ado, basically we're going to be going over Be Cool tonight, which is one of the recommended repricers. Very similar in functionality to App Eagle and some of the other repricers, but with a couple of twists and I think a much cheaper alternative, and it actually performs a little bit better. So let me share my screen, and I will go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, can everybody see that?
I see a blank screen. Now we see it.
Okay. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, basically, Be Cool. We previous webinar we kind of went through how repricers work. You know, how to set them up, how the rules work, kind of how that functions. So I won't belabor that point, but if you want to go back and watch that, it goes through basically the concepts that all of them work on. Be Cool is like any of the other real-time repricers, where it runs in the cloud or on the internet. So your PC doesn't have to be on the reprice. It is rules-based, so you tell it how you want it to treat competing prices, and then you set minimum and maximum prices, and it does the rest from there. In my testing, Be Cool reprices about once every 12 minutes, somewhere around there, depending on volume. So by their account descriptions, it's every 30 minutes, but it's usually a little bit faster depending on what's going on. I'll go ahead and start with the rules, since that's really where a lot of them differentiate themselves. You can have unlimited number of rules in Be Cool, and you can apply each one to listings, which I'll show you that in a little bit.
Hey, Todd,
yes, sir?
Before you get into all that, can you tell everybody the difference between the three plans? Do you know the differences there?
Let me go to
100.
Yeah, let me go to subscriptions. I believe it lays them out here. Okay, there are a wide variety of plans based on your listings, and once you get above the basic plan, which is annually, let's see, monthly, $25 a month, that's up to 2,500 listings, and that is actual active listings that you're repricing. I have some listings that I don't reprice, so those don't count, so that's 2,500 active. That they're saying 1 hour repricing, which again I'm seeing, you know, in the 12 to 25 minute range. Once you get to 5,000 listings, which is $50 a month, that gets accelerated repricing, and that is the where they're contractually, I believe, around 15 minutes, but they're much faster than that typically.
So what are you using? You're using the 1 hour?
Yeah, I do. I go deep rather than wide, so I typically don't have more than 150 listings. So I stay at the 1 hour repricing, 2,500 listings. That's worked out great for me. I haven't had any issues. I have some items that are their base sales rate is in 2,000 or less, basically. So real high volume, and I still don't have any issues with it. But just like App Eagle, if it makes you feel better to reprice faster in Q4, whenever, you can go up to the $50 per month plan, and that gets you the accelerated repricing.
Right. So we have a coupon for $10 off of the $25 plan.
Yes.
So it's basically 40% off coupon codes for the different plans, and there's codes in the chat, and then we'll also have them in our discount section.
And they also give a double length trial. So instead of the standard 14 days, they get a full 28, 30-day trial, basically. So you have almost a month to try it out and see if it works for you. They also, while I'm on this page, they also make a feedback central and a review central. I've used the feedback before. It works okay. I just don't care for the interface as much as Feedback Genius. So you're welcome to use that. The disappointing thing is there's really no synergy between these three. So if you use Repricing Central, you really gain nothing by using their Feedback Central. They're totally disconnected products. Review Central is interesting if you have private label products. That consolidates all your product reviews and will alert you if you get certain level reviews and handles that correspondence. So that's kind of neat to look at if you're doing private label. Repricing, we'll jump into the rules here. Well, the internet must be slow tonight. There we go. Okay. Again, you can have unlimited rules. Each rule gets fairly granular. It's nowhere near as complex as Channel Max or some of the other ones, but you have quite a bit of flexibility on them. Obviously, rule name and description. I just left the template description because I only run the one rule. But if you want to say, use this for Q4 or, private label or map or whatever, you can have description. Buy box settings. This is one of the places where they differentiate themselves. When you're in the buy box, this is the prevailing setting, and you have several options. You can either lower or raise your buy box price based on other sellers entering the buy box. You can lower it to stay competitive. You can raise it to maximize profit. Don't change or disable. I have it obviously set to raise my buy box price to maximize profit. What that will do is, and it was the example we used in the repricing webinar a few weeks back. If you have the buy box and the next lowest seller is, say, $10 above you, it will raise your price to within 1% of the next, the next higher seller. So it will basically bump your price up and kind of snug it up the next price. And then if you lose the buy box, it will back it back down so that you stay to keep the buy box. That, as we discussed before, keeps you from being, $10, $15 under the next seller and losing out on that revenue when you would have kept the buy box by actually raising it. That's configurable for percentage or dollars. And it's just up to you how you do it. I just did the 1% arbitrarily because that gives us somewhere to set, but it kind of gives you the walk through the example here. Let's see, have it raise it by 1 cent. It can increase it by 1 cent, or it can just go up based on the next higher price. I've had this work out pretty well. I've toyed around with the percentage, and 1% seems to work pretty well, but I have noticed it putting positive price pressure on the pricing. This is the catch-all for if the price goes above your max price. You can have it set to either use your max price or just leave your price alone. I have it set to use my max price. This is your competitor section, so it dictates which prices that Be Cool looks at, basically. So you can tell it to either ignore or watch Amazon prices, other FBA sellers, other fulfilled by merchant sellers, which are the ones that ship their own, obviously, and non-featured merchants. Non-featured merchants, I'm not convinced how well it works anymore. I know Amazon has kind of messed around with featured merchants and what they consider featured merchants. So I just leave that checked, but I'm not sure if that does really much of anything. Like most repricers that use the API, they're limited to 20 basically results when they pull prices. I think that's pretty standard. I haven't seen anyone that it could go around that, but basically Amazon API will give you, an assortment of 20 prices when they do the API call. Here's the nitty gritty, as Nacho Libre would say, for the repricing. When it's below your minimum price or above your minimum price, this is where you basically set the price. I used to have this set to 2% above, 1% above. My perception or my experience was that there was a change made at Amazon within the past month, and I noticed that I was not getting the buy box if I was, 2%, 1%, or even a penny over the buy box. I don't know if you noticed that, Sean.
Yeah. A lot of people are reporting that same issue.
Okay. Because I've always been a big proponent on don't price it a penny below, don't match it, just set it to 1 or 2% above. But that came to a screeching halt. So now I just say, +0, or you can say -0. So basically I just say go after the buy box price.
Yeah, that's what I've always done, is go after the buy box.
Okay.
But, if you're doing wholesale or things like that, it could be hard because you might not be making, a good ROI. But me, I pay very little for the stuff I buy at liquidation. So be very careful with that, with options to get the buy box, because you have to make sure that you're not losing money when you're doing this. This is to help you make more money, especially with Be Cool. It's going to it's going to raise the prices as well as lower them. But you still want to sell items, so you have to find a happy medium in there. With me, if I'm paying a quarter for something and everyone else, paid $8 and they're selling it for 15, well, I don't care how cheap I have to go. So I'm usually the person you're complaining about. But you have to think about what you're paying, and you have to think about what your competitor could have been paying. If they bought a whole pallet of it for $100 and you have to pay $10, they might not be the bad guy there.
Yeah, and I can't really think of any reason that you'd ever want to be below your competitor's price because, at worst case, you're rotating in the buy box. So being under that doesn't really, I don't see where it benefits you enough to justify it, but that's personal decision. You can see each one of these have little hover tooltips that kind of walk you through their logic. The software is made by, I believe, a Taiwanese company. So English, sometimes they have a kind of a morphed version of English. So sometimes you have to read it a few times. They word it a little bit funny, but they do a decent job of kind of explaining what they're doing for each of these settings, which is kind of nice. Because this is definitely an area you want to spend a lot of time on once you start to understand it, because it makes all the difference in the world how it performs. So basically we're saying when they're below our minimum price, we want to just basically match their price. And then you can have some options where you're keying off your minimum or max based on your business model. When they're below our minimum price, then again they give you the option to do auto compete, which basically auto compete is if someone drops below your minimum price, kind of off your radar, if you use auto compete, then they will go after the next lower price competitors. So using these examples, if your minimum price is 11, which is in red, and your max price is 15, and you have a competitor drop down to 10, then be cool to say, you know what, forget that guy, he's racing to the bottom. Let's go after competitor 2. So then it will be, if you had it set to be 1 penny below the price, it was set at $11.99 because that's 1 penny below competitor 2, which was at $12. So I do leave it at auto compete. I found that works better than just a flat rule because especially in the case where someone is just dumping the inventory, you never know what they're up to. So rather than chase it all the way down to your minimum price, you could just kind of get cozy with the next, sanely priced person and just match their price, and then just wait for the knucklehead to sell out that's priced really cheap. Or not knucklehead, I guess the person that bought it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, I'm the knucklehead.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess in this scenario, if I'm competing with Sean, I just ignore him until he sells out, and I compete with the next guy instead. When they equal your min price, when they basically bottom out your listing, which a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, some sellers will do, they'll kind of probe your pricing to see where your bottom part is, just to see, someone play games where they'll drop it and raise it. Someone will just kind of drop it to see how far down you'll go. In this case, same thing. It says, hey, if they match your minimum price, then just kind of ignore him and go for the next competitor, him or her. So same scenario. Once they drop to that line or below the line, you just ignore them. This no competition, that's basically saying if you're the only seller in a listing, which is a great place to be as long as it's an item that sells. I play with this frequently. I haven't really found anything that makes me happy for all the products, so it's something you have to just toy with. But basically you can either say, if there's no competition, use my maximum price, don't reprice it, or set a custom price. So that's what I did. I basically said, hey, take my minimum and go up $5, because that's usually a safe range for me. But again, it's whatever makes sense on your business. And don't forget, you can have multiple profiles. So if you have different products that different rules apply to, then that's where you can break this out. Okay, basically when everyone has lost their mind on pricing from your standpoint, when everybody's either below your minimum or above your max, there's another rule for that. That's when everybody else is off the radar. In that case, I just did my minimum price and went up a penny from the minimum. Just, you're almost just kind of throwing it out there to see what bites. Minimum price protection default settings. This is kind of a redundant setting, I think. I don't know if it's a carryover, but Be Cool, like all other repricers, should never price below your min price. Be Cool's never had an incident where they did that. There's been several repricers that have dropped listings to a penny or something like that. Never happened with them, but I guess this is like a catch-all where it says when the price they calculate, so using all these rules, whatever they come up with, if that is equal to or below your minimum price, you have a choice here. You can either use the minimum and just ignore what they came up with. If for some fluke it fell through, use your max or customize. So again, I just use at the minimum. Not even really sure what the history is on that, but that's the settings for that. The advanced settings, this is where you break out. Up here, you chose the competitors you compete with, Amazon, FBA, FBM, non-featured. Down here, you can treat them differently if you so choose. So the only one I have anything different is if I'm competing against Amazon. I have a couple items that Amazon sells that they never go out in stock on, and for those, I just match Amazon's price, undercut them by a penny, because that's the only way I've been able to get the buy box. They don't seem to share the buy box, even if you're the same price, in my experience anyway. So it's basically these same 4 settings, 1, 2, 3, and then the minimum price protection default settings. It's those same 4 for each of these sections. So you can say, okay, if Amazon's below my minimum or above my minimum or below my minimum or they equal my minimum, here's what I want you to do. And then here's the fail safe. And just to show you, it's the same exact for each of these. So if you're competing against other FBA sellers, you can do that differently. If you're competing against FBM, you can do that differently. A lot of people have used this. I've used it in the past, turned it off, maybe look at turning it back on. But a lot of people figure, hey, if no one else is selling FBA, then my price is at least worth $5 over the FBM price, or 6 or 7, because even if they offer free shipping, if they don't offer free shipping, you're going to pay shipping. If they do offer free shipping, you're competing with, next day or 2-day Amazon Prime or same day. You've got advantages over that. So this is where you can go in and specifically target the people of their FBM. And again, same 4 boxes. If you are fulfilled by merchant and Amazon is selling, that's what this section pertains to. If you're fulfilled by merchant and selling against FBA, which would be tough, here's that section. And then if you're going head to head, fulfilled by merchant versus fulfilled by merchant. So again, same settings, just allows you to kind of customize your approach to going after the buy box.
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
For that, so you only use the one? You only usually stick to FBA versus Amazon? You don't even worry about the other ones?
I haven't in the past because most of the time I was only competing with other FBA sellers, or there was at least one other FBA seller on the listing, I guess, because a lot of the products I sell are common, popular products. They're not like hard to find or out of stock or liquidations. Most of the stuff I deal with is wholesale. Everyone can get wholesale, so a lot of people are selling wholesale, so I just never mess with it.
Okay.
I've recently started selling some products that I was either the only FBA seller on there or they're discontinued or no longer used products. So I will probably this week turn this on, and actually exactly what I'm going to do is if they are let's see, below minimum. Well, if they're above minimum price, I would probably match them plus $4, which is what I had this set before, basically. So basically, just turn this rule back on. So if they are competitive price-wise with me, I will go $4 above them, believing that people would pay that difference for FBA.
I never compete with merchant fulfilled. They're just not. They're not on my radar. They're not the kind of people that I am. Promoting to. I'm only really looking to sell to people who are Prime members who are looking to, get those deals, pay a premium price. If somebody wants to sell an item for $2 with free shipping, then let them do that.
Okay. So you just ignore their price pretty much.
Yeah, we completely ignore all merchant fulfilled, and we haven't had a problem with that.
Okay. I
see things selling for $4 or $5 all the time, and we easily get $15 for it. So,
okay.
It's not, it's not something that you almost ever want to compete with.
Okay. So in that case, you would uncheck, basically, if this was Sean's profile, he would uncheck that basically and just ignore FBM. So they wouldn't even come into his radar.
Okay. Cool.
It's different, unfortunately, as far as I know, no one has deciphered the buy box completely. So that's why this is just very configurable, because a lot of people have their own theories or based on their own experience on what works. I know based on Sean's volume that I would definitely believe what he's saying on FBM, but it just depends on your product mix, really, I guess. So, yep, you can completely ignore FBM and they will never even show up. The final custom settings, which I've played around with these, if you have that guy or gal that just drives you nuts or you're always competing with, you can specifically either ignore them or you can compete only with them based on their seller ID. Not sure the scenario where you would do that unless you were just private labeling a single product on this account maybe, but it's there. I've toyed with this a little bit. This is kind of where I've landed over the past 4 to 5 months. You can exclude sellers' positive feedback that's lower than a certain percentage. I base that, I know me personally, when I'm shopping on Amazon, anyone below like 95 makes me nervous. I really look at the reviews. Below 90, they've got to be the only seller, and at 80, I wouldn't even consider it. So that's just my approach, but I've heard a variety of opinions on that. What's your opinion on the feedback, Sean? Do you think it's relevant?
Very few sellers or buyers, I think, are really worried about that.
Okay.
In my opinion, as sellers, we know what it means to have a low feedback, because it's really hard, to get a feedback under 95 or 90%. If you're just launched. So, but buyers, I don't think are looking at it that much. But of course, we don't want to be competing against those kind of people, because if you're competing against those kind of people, it's going to be creating bad reviews on those products. And a whole list of problems, because the buyers don't know who they're buying from. I get messages a lot now where people are, saying they bought this and this is their order number, but it's only because I'm the seller that has the buy box right now. They bought from somebody else. It's not my order number, and then I have to explain to them how to contact Amazon because they didn't actually buy from me. So they're just going to the sales page and trying to figure out how to contact whoever has the buy box or whoever they figure they bought from. So it's more important to us than it is to the buyers, but those are the kind of people that you want to avoid.
Okay. Yeah, I know I'm not the typical shopper. I usually research the heck out of everything. So this would work with me as a shopper, but like you said, that's not the average Amazon buyer, I don't think.
I always look at reviews. I don't feel bad.
Do you look at reviews?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's because I've been buying and selling on eBay for years, and you just I think they kind of train me to do that. But
yeah, I think that's where it comes from, is eBay.
Yeah. So you can play around with, whatever number makes you comfortable on this one. Same with total feedback count. I haven't really tweaked this any because I know as a buyer, I've never really noticed, I don't pay as much attention to the feedback count as their rating, I guess. But those are all settings. So once you get these rules set up, and the canned template that comes from Be Cool is pretty good. I mean, you can almost run with that, but you definitely won't go through and check these. So once you get your rules set up as a profile, then you apply it to the listing. And I've got several in here that I've saved up. The one nice thing about Be Cool is as soon as your listing's created, they add an entry in here. So you don't have to wait for it to get received by Amazon or be in stock or anything else. It'll show up within about 15 minutes of you creating the listing. So I've got a bunch of listings in here just to show you how this works. You can just fill in each one of the fields and save them, and away you go. Works fine. They have a quick start that will prompt you. If you're setting them all in mass, you can set them all at the same time. What I like doing, though, is I click first on the min price and click the calculator. And what that does is that brings up a price calculator where you put in your cost. So just for sake of argument, let's say I paid $1 for this. So, and it will show you, the estimated, obviously this is all estimated until the sale is final, but the estimated commission, FBA fees, and closing fee. Click OK. And it has a little Amazon icon to show that this is fulfilled by Amazon. There's a little blue M that shows it's fulfilled by merchant. So once you click that in, it shows what your total fully loaded cost is. So it's saying if your price is $656, your estimated profit is $202. You have a couple options here. You can say, okay, I want to make my minimum price then $5, and that's going to be my minimum profit, and my max, say, $15, and that makes my maximum profit that. So you can do it that way, or you could go and say, okay, for this item, I don't want to sell it unless I can make at least $1.50, and it will calculate where the minimum price needs to be. And maximum profit, you can say, you know, I would feel guilty if I made more than $30 on this, and that will set the max price. So you could do it either side, which this, when I saw this feature, I fell in love with it after working with all the other repricers, because to me, it's such a time sink to have to click over to the FBA calculator or whatever you use, put in your costs, calculate the price. You know, the Amazon FBA calculator is tedious because if you want to kind of tweak the price, you have to, you know, click the refresh sometimes to get to show up. And it would take me 30 seconds to a minute per item, which wasn't a big deal. But, you know, I've got 74 to do tonight. That's 74 minutes, you know, which is an hour and something. I can knock through these 74, even doing each one of them different prices in under 10 minutes easily. So that's a huge price savings for me. But say we want, you know, $1.50 and $30. So you click save, and it populates all three of those at once. So then you click the little disk, and that locks those prices in. So the next thing you need to do is select a rule. And I only have one, but if you have more, you see a whole list of them. And then you can click Get Buy Box. Once you do that, you can pause repricing if you don't want to reprice for whatever reason, or you can look at competitor analysis, which I use frequently on my items. If you click on competitor analysis, it goes and shows you, this is a bad example. Let me find one with competition that's showing up or that's polled. I'll tell you what, let's do this. It won't populate the competitors until it does the first polling. So in the interest of time, let me just pull up an existing listing that's already been polling on. Let's see. Let's do this. Got 34 competitors. That's a good one. Pull up competitor analysis. It will show you, you know, a hot link to the ASIN, which will open the Amazon product page, the current buy box, sales rank, you know, the condition that you're competing on, and it will show you all the 20 competitors that it pulled via API. And then it draws a line that shows where you stand with your minimum price, where your current price is, and where your maximum price is, as well as ABA and non-featured. So of the top 22 competitors that it pulled here, I'm not competing against any other FBAs. There's one other non-featured, and I am towards the high end of the price. So the current buy box is $677. I'm sitting on $1277, which is a $6 premium. But this one, I can tell you that this is almost sold out. A bunch of these have sold because, as Sean mentioned, you know, people go in with FBA or Prime memberships. They're not shopping these non-FBA people. They're shopping for Prime. And even though I was $6 above the buy box, I still, you know, moved quite a few of the products through there. It shows at quick glance the seller ratings, their total ratings, and where they're shipping from, which is another nice thing because geography comes into play with, you know, getting the buy box sometimes. So it just kind of gives you a feel for where your competitors are. This is a editable screen, so you can make changes to your min price or your max price from right here. So if you went in and you said, you know, geez, I need to unload this stuff, it has been selling, you could change that to say 672 to match the buy box, or, you know, you could increase it, whatever you want to do. Competitor, that's a hot link. So you can, I'll show you here. You can click on that link. It will take you to who that seller is. So say I see the seller all the time. They're driving me nuts. I want to keep tabs on them. Their name is Shoplet. So then I say, okay, go back in here, click on this, and I say, okay, that dude's Shoplet. So now every other listing, when it shows up with that seller ID, it will show the actual competitor name. So I can keep tabs on who it is I'm competing with. And also you can set your current price right here. So if you set your min or max, next polling cycle will change it. If you set your price, that's, you know, relatively instant. I know that was a word dump. Does anybody have any questions or comments while I'm on this screen? Okay. So a lot of information. This is what I use when I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to be setting the price. So it also shows beyond the 20. It will show the total number of competitors you have. It will show your current price, what the low price is basically, which may or may not be the buy box, and then the current buy box price with shipping. And again, each of these links are clickable, so you can click on it, go right to the product page if you don't remember, what that product was, or if there's any special actions on it. So it will. The one drawback to Be Cool that it doesn't have that App Eagle has is it does not show you how many items in stock you have. You can go in here and set which columns appear. Stock quantity is not one of those. It's just not offered for whatever reason. So I've got a ticket open with Be Cool to ask if they can add that, because I know that helps. They do have units sold, so you can see how many you sold of each item. I think that's for a period. I don't think that's total. But it will kind of show you, if it's been selling or if your pricing strategy is working. This one I haven't sold any. It was created back in August, and I am $2 over the buy box. So I'm guessing that's a high sales rank because it's not that unreasonable. So you can kind of go in there and kind of do some research on it. Yeah, and there we go. Sales rank is big fat 0. So that's why nothing's selling, because nobody's selling it. So, and again, it shows you if you're in stock or out of stock, but not how many. There's can filters that come with it, so you can look at all of your listings, the active ones, which are the ones that are in stock and currently active, inactive, obviously. The ones where you have repricing enabled or paused. Your listings with competition, at minimum, at max, the missing min and max price, which obviously are the ones that won't reprice. Missing rules, and then where your competition is beating your minimum price, basically where you're not able to compete effectively, essentially. Another nice thing that I've used on several occasions, I don't think it's available in the other packages that I'm aware of, but you could go in and see the history of the particular ASIN for repricing. So if you go over to view history, it shows all of them. I can just paste that one in, do a search, and yeah, great. That one hasn't repriced. Let me go back to just everything then. Okay, so let me find one. Okay, this one's had some activity several times. So you can put in particular ASIN, and if you think, hey, they're not repricing it right, or they're doing something wrong, or whatever's going on, it will show you the history, how often it's pricing. It looks like I'm hitting right at 30 minutes on this particular item. But it will show you, what your min and max were, the rule that it used, who you were competing against. So I've been competing against this FBM guy pretty much all day. What his price was, what the current price is, and what price it picked for me. So it looks like it's been raising it and dropping it back and forth here. So that's obviously two repricers competing with each other. But that's a real good way to go back and see, what changes have been made, how your price has been looking, essentially. Let's see. Advanced, you can do specific searches in here. So if you want to look at the repricing history for everything where the price change was greater than $5 or less than a penny, or all these fields basically. And on all the screens, there's a preference box, and that gives you your choice of which columns you can display. Default means if it's got data in it, it will display it. You also have the option of showing it if it's available or hiding it if it's possible. So you can kind of control what's displayed here. Upload file, when you're first getting set up on it, obviously you may not want to go through the calculator for every single item. This allows you to upload a spreadsheet. So all the repricers that I'm aware of have an export feature where you can export all your prices. So basically you just export them, you make it match the columns needed for this, and then you upload it, and away you go. Let's see. It supports multiple marketplaces. So if you have more than one Amazon account, or if you have Amazon Germany or Amazon France or whatever, you can add all that. There are some business reports that come with the package as well. Pull some of those up. Shows you can look at, they're similar to the reports on Amazon, just a little bit different format, but you can look at your sales by day, week, or month. You can download them in a spreadsheet. If you have multiple marketplaces, you can choose the different marketplaces. Have some other pop outs here. Repricing report shows your repricing competitiveness, which I'll pull that up. Shows your win percentage, which, as you can see, when Amazon made that change, mine has plummeted. I still haven't recovered. We do the past 3 months. I'll show you. Yeah, I went from, let's see, that's back in June. Yeah, I was in the 14, 15, 16 range, and then it started plummeting down to 11, back up to 14. It's been drastically affected, basically, since they made that change. You can also look at, there's a performance report by listing, which will show you, you know, how many has been ordered, sales, basically, you know, how your products are doing. A repricing report, which will show you your competitiveness on each item, like how many orders have been, units ordered, sales, competitors, you know, just basically all the same numbers that you've seen before. And there's some column selects here. There's also a repricing dashboard that shows much of the same thing. You know, your current win percentage, how many are in the buy box, not in it, you know, how many the price is enabled on, your top sellers, competitors, that type of thing. So that is it in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions? I don't have the chat window up, so I wasn't able to see, but.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so either. If anybody has questions, now's the time to ask, so take advantage. Is there a lot of background noise coming from mine? Can you guys hear that or no?
Probably.
If I keep mine unmuted, or?
All I heard was music just a second ago. I haven't heard anything else, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all baby toys. So, all right. Oh, there's a question. Can you show the bulk actions feature, Todd?
Yes. Click over to manage listings. Bulk actions is you can, the way this works is, here, I'll show you. Let's go in and we'll click on these three, but you could also select all or whatever. And from there, you can say set cost. So I want to make all of these your price plus shipping or a fixed price. So I'm going to say that cost is $1. And that will go in and set the cost for all those items. You can also do that for, if all of them, you want to set the same minimum maximum pricing rule for all of them, you can obviously do that. Or you can pause or enable the repricing. And again, that's either a all select or a onesie twosies, and you can also use filters at the same time. So you can, you know, if you want to search for, say, everything with the word Sally in it, which will pull up all your listings that don't have, because I'm on the missing min and max price, these are all the listings with Sally in it that don't have pricing, and you can do the bulk actions there. So that's
a lot of Sally Hansen.
It is, yeah. There's 38 of them, so you can kind of tweak it down to whatever data you want and apply it in mass, essentially.
So how do you think this compares to other reprices like AppEagle that are just so much more money, you know, $150 a month?
I've used Reprice It, Celery, and AppEagle. I used Reprice It for about 4 months. AppEagle was probably close to 6 months. I also used Channel Max and Celery. I would put Be Cool in the same class as AppEagle and Celery and Channel Max as far as performance and feature set. In my experience, they reprice faster than the standard plans for the other repricers, all of them, top to bottom. The calculator feature alone, I would pay extra for because that's a huge time savings for me. in my, and I vote with my dollars, obviously, but in my mind, I get equivalent or better functionality and performance out of Be Cool than I do App Eagle, with one big asterisk. The big asterisk is if you also sell on eBay and you want to do repricing across both platforms, Be Cool won't do it. App Eagle has, or at least they used to, I'm sure they still do, they have the ability to reprice eBay listings that were in the eBay catalog. So I know several sellers that use that sell the same thing across both platforms, and they want to use similar pricing rules. In that case, App Eagle is superior. Or if you're a volume seller that wants to do continuous repricing, then the Be Cool Accelerated is not a continuous repricer. I haven't used App Eagle's continuous, so I don't know if it truly is continuous, but based on terminology, it's not the same. For me personally, as a seller, I started with Reprice It because it was $9.95 a month and it met my needs. You know, I had it set the price 4 or 5 times a day, and it was fine for a small number of listings. But I felt I outgrew it at a certain point because it wasn't competitive enough, especially in Q4. You know, because in December, repricing 4 times a day or 6 times a day just doesn't cut it. And so I wanted faster repricing, and I needed more functionality as far as who I competed with. So in my mind, there's 3 tiers of repricers. There's the low entry-level tier that still have good functions, but are just entry-level, like Reprice It. There's the mid-tier, which is 90% of the products, Celery, Be Cool, Channel Max, App Eagle. And then there's the top tier, which are the reprices that are $500, $800, $1,500 a month. But as far as mid-tier, I think Be Cool, it's a toss-up for me between Be Cool and Channel Max, with App Eagle a close third probably.
What about the additional users function? Do you know what the limit is? How many users you can have on there?
I believe it's by plan, and I want to say it's 5 for my plan, but I'm sure there's a screen that breaks it down, but I am not positive, to be honest with you. I can find that out as a follow-up and post it.
Yeah, well, as long as you can have a couple. I think if you only have 2,500 SKUs, you're probably not going to need more than 6 users.
Yeah. Yeah, I can... yeah, I'll have to look that up. I can probably Google it now, but it'd probably be too much screen clutter watching me do that. But I will find out for sure. But that's a good point. Let me go ahead and I'll just add a test user, and we can see the functionality that you have there. Let's see if I can add it. Second one, I'll just dummy up an address. Okay, so for permissions, it looks like you have... Oh, that's interesting. Let's see if once I've added, if I can tweak it from there.
Well, there's an option for adding new permissions there. Oh,
oh, back to another screen?
Yeah, over to the right of it, yeah. So I don't know if you can set what you want your permissions to be.
Oh, you have to create them manually. That's why all was the only one that showed up. Right. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Very similar to what you have on Amazon.
Yep. Yeah, I've never messed with the screen. That's interesting. But yeah, it looks like just looking at it, you have view or view and edit, and you can control dashboard repricing feedback, SKUs and templates, uploading files by marketplace. So I guess if you had somebody just repricing your Germany listings and not the U.S., and listings, and then for each of their modules, basically. So repricing rules, obviously you probably want to make this non-review for other people. But business reports, yeah, that's nice. Okay, so you can build a profile basically and just apply that profile to each user. So looks like what they're doing. Good deal. I'm glad you asked that. I forgot about that completely.
I'm here.
So other than that, I'm not sure what else to show you. Basically, support is all email based, I believe. click on the button. They have some getting started and FAQs basically. You can submit a request, which is a ticket system most of the time. I've never had I've had one high priority issue, and that was a bug I found when I first started using them, and they responded within an hour probably. The rest of the time, it's usually next day if it's just nitnoid things like, how do I do this, or what's the status of this? It's usually next day. 9 to 5, it looks like. They're based in Taiwan, I believe, but they also have China and United Kingdom support. They're also notorious for putting in new features and updates and not announcing them. So I do go to the support screen and look at their updates periodically just to see, what they added and what they're working on. But other than that, I've used the FAQs before. And the getting started is just a basic overview on, setting up the individual pieces, basically what we've done before. So that's all that's in there. Let's see if it mentions users in here. Nope, it doesn't say. So I'll have to ask them what the user limit is. Oh, no, there we go. Nope. Repricing. Okay, see, so they're accelerated is every 0 to 15 minutes is what they're calling it. Marketplaces, they support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of the Amazon ones. The one nice thing I like about them that kind of chapped me on AppEagle is when AppEagle changed their repricing, they took away the buy box. There was a get the buy box function that they pulled out of the standard plans, which they doubled from 25 to 50, and they put them in the higher plans. But Be Cool, on every single plan except for download reports, you get every feature. So they don't hold back marketplaces and obviously the repricing frequency, but they don't hold back marketplaces, the intelligent auto compete, which is comparable or slightly better than the get the buy box. They don't hold back any of that stuff on the lower plans, which is nice. Profit margin calculator, all that is included in everything from the cheapest plan to the most expensive that they have listed. They don't mention anything about users, so I'm assuming I'm assuming it's either high number or unlimited, but I will find out.
Okay, great. That's good. We'll have all the information on the discounts in the group, so if you want to try it out, we'll post it when we post the video.
All right. Hey, I wanted to do a little tiny plug, if you don't mind.
A plug?
Yeah, kind of like a little plug. I'm going to post something in our group as well. But for those of you guys on the webinar, since we're concluding it right now, any of you guys who are friends with me, or like I said, I will post it in the page. This week, my family and I lost a childhood friend to suicide. So we are raising money for the Out of the Darkness Walk, National Suicide Prevention Hotline. So even if it's $1, I have a team page that's being set up. So, if you guys have $1 or anything to put towards that, we super appreciate it. So the link will be in there.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That's good. Thanks for watching, and we'll post this up as soon as we can. Thanks. Good night.